Hey everybody, Hein here, your favorite reviewer. Today we're in a 2012 Mazda 3 1.6 Active. Actually recently bought this car. I'm going to be using it as a general everyday user that I can loan to my clients. Maybe it's something that I'll sell one day, but for now I'm just going to test drive this, give you my thoughts on the car, and maybe some consumer advice as we go. So here we go. As you can see, my seat belt's on, my glasses are on, and I'm ready to go. So Mazda introduced the Mazda 3 back in 2003 for the 2004 model year. It's been a very popular seller for them, and it's an excellent little family car. And just for a matter of interest, in Japan they call it the Axela, which is basically combining the words excellent and accelerate. Very interesting. Something that you would probably associate more with a premium brand, but if you factor in the price, certainly does live up to the name. Well, as a car, it's fantastic. I've had it for a month now. I had it serviced, put new tires on, changed the windscreen, did some body work. It had here and there were one or two scratches that I took out, but I really do enjoy this vehicle. I think to me it really represents excellent value for money, and especially considering if you're living on a budget like most of us are, and your budget can only stretch so much. This is a fantastic car if you're looking at buying something for around about 100,000 Rand. I mean, if I consider this vehicle 2012 model, it's done 165,000 Ks, it's got service history, and there's not one scratch on any of the mags that I saw. I mean, after I did all my recon, this vehicle generally represents excellent value, and it's quite an easy car to live with. I mean, the aircon blows nice and cool, especially on such a hot African summer day. It really is a scorcher, and the aircon works a treat. The vehicle is nice and quiet. I mean, it's got the kind of looks that's not going to be dating very quickly. I mean, it's fresh even now as a 2012 model. It's got the kind of looks that's very appealing, and that's what I like about this car. I mean, even at the 100,000 Rand price point, if you were to buy something in the same ilk as this, it's really excellent. And from a practicality point of view, there's ample space for a young family in this car. I mean, I'm not the tallest guy, but if I sit behind myself, I mean, I got no problem. There's loads of leg room for me. The vehicle has got quite a sporty feel to it, and actually when you are driving it, it doesn't feel like a 1.6 front wheel drive vehicle. It actually has got the kind of driving characteristics of more of a rear wheel drive vehicle. It's only when the road conditions are slippery or under hard acceleration that you can really tell that this is front wheel drive. But on the open road, she's nice and quiet. The little 1.6 four-cylinder unit produces 77 kilowatts at 6,000 RPM and 145 Newton meters of torque at just a tick over 4,000 RPM. It's just a nice little engine, and it suits this car perfectly. And so far as fuel consumption goes, I've tested this thoroughly during the month that I've had this vehicle, and it seems to me that in genuine city driving, real world driving, I'm getting approximately 14 kilometers to the liter. That's pretty respectable in my book, considering the size of this vehicle. So to me, it's an absolute gem of a car. And if I were to give some consumer advice to you, if you're in the market looking for a family car and you may be on a tight budget, this is probably a vehicle that you shouldn't overlook. I honestly think that this is not going to be too expensive to maintain. Decent fuel economy, a lot of space, and a very decent sized boot. I'm sure you could fit quite a lot in there, but I'll speak about that boot a little bit later. There's one or two things there that I think with regards to the design that they sacrificed a little bit of practicality for style, but ample space. But so far as the interior is concerned, well, the vehicle is pretty basic. Power assisted steering, it's got a CD player, auxiliary inputs, and what I like is just under the armrest here there's actually two little grooves that have been molded into it where your charging cables and your auxiliary cables can just be taken out without impeding on the closing of the lid. But the vehicle is just genuinely quite nice. There's no thrills or anything like that regarding this interior. I mean, if I want to be very critical, I can probably point out that there's a lot of cheap plastic in the car, but at this price point, I mean, you're just looking for something that's reliable, that's got decent looks, that is going to do what you want it to do. It's just going to tick every box. I mean, it's not that it's an ugly car by any stretch of the imagination. I still think it looks pretty good. And at that price point, by the way, you're getting electric windows, front and rear. Your mirrors, left and right side, can be electrically adjusted. It's got some nice fake aluminium inlays, which are not too bad. I've seen much worse, by the way. And just a very nice layout of the dashboard. I think all in all, this is a very, very good little car. Remember I was telling you about the boot? Well, I do have one or two little issues with it though. They're not major, they're not deal breakers, but it's just something that that's a little bit annoying, especially in the beginning. But because it's a car that you'll adapt to, you'll get used to how it operates. But for example, if you want to open the boot of this vehicle, you have one of two choices. One, there's a lever just in the floor next to the driver's door that you can either pull up and it will release the bootlet, or you have to actually physically press the key. There's a little button specifically for the boot on the key. So you press it and it opens the boot. I was mentioning the compromises that the designers of this vehicle had to deal with to keep the striking good looks, but also not lose too much practicality. But one of the compromises is there's a very high boot lid here, and it actually makes it quite difficult, especially if you've got some big bags, taking them in and out. I've taken my daughter to school a couple of times, and I've noticed that whenever I take her school bag when I put it in or I take it out, I'm always conscious of not scratching the plastics. So bigger bags, it is a little bit of a problem. The other thing, yes, it's a big boot, but as you can see, the boot opening is actually not that big when you consider the size of the boot. I mean, to me, if I were an end user and this was what my main vehicle, my one car that I drive, this will tick almost every box. I mean, you want to go on a holiday, there's enough space in that boot, I'm sure, to cater for most of your needs. I mean, it's got the capacity, according to the manufacturer's claims, to be able to tow around about 900 kilos. So you can fit a tow bar to this, and you hook up your little venter trailer key and you go to the sea. Hier kom die venters. Perfect car.